Good afternoon, you're watching the PLZ Soccer Football Show with myself, Gabriel Antoniazzi, Charlie Adam and Tam McManus here with me today. We're going to be building up to Scotland's huge match in Denmark this evening. A little bit later, we're going to start with yesterday's transfer business. Plenty of deals going right to the wire across the country. We're going to have a look at all of the clubs that were involved with them. But first of all, I've got to come to you, Charlie Adam. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, Odsonne Edouard, 5 million. We think it's 15 million. What have you got to say to that? Plenty of fans calling for you this morning.
I was right for the 5, wasn't I? But, oh listen, they've got to pay PSG a few quid as well, so let's see what the figures were first. I don't think Celtic will come out and actually say the figures, so listen, I was a little bit off it, but that's why I'm not chief executive and I'm a football player. So listen, they've done well. I think Celtic's business out the football club, you know, the money they've managed to come in the last year or so with Frimpong, Edouard, Ayer, it's close to what, 40 million quid. It's a lot of money, and 12 new players in, they'll be happy, and they'll be able to push on now to try and claw back that defeat on the Sunday at Ibrox.
Yeah, how do you rate Celtic's business? I think it's 40 million, as Charlie said, in 2021. 12 players in this window and a new manager.
Yeah, I think time will tell. I think it's too early to predict how they'll do. I think obviously the Greek striker came in £2.5 million, top scorer in Holland, must have a bit about him, so he'll hope to hit the ground running. The one I'm excited about, and probably Celtic fans are, is Jota. Great pedigree, he's a young player in Portugal. So I think that Celtic, they had to sign players, and I think they've strengthened the majority of the positions. Obviously the lad from Spurs as well, I don't know if Charlie might know more than me, coming in at centre back yesterday as well. So I think they've strengthened it there as they've had to, and we need to wait and see how that progresses through the season. Yeah,
but before we go on that, Cameron Carter-Vickers, centre-half, do you think that's almost, it shows that Postecoglou isn't too happy with his centre-half options? He's already brought in Scales, who we've not seen, in Starfelt, who's not hit the ground running. He's brought in another one at the 11th hour.
Listen, he come to Stoke and never really done it at Stoke. So, listen, he was on loan at Bournemouth.
What kind of player is he, Charlie?
He's an aggressive sort of player that'll, you know, want to go and head it and think, probably something that Celtic might need, and can play on that left side, which then sounds, does it, you know, Starfelt is something that they've, you know, let's say people say he's not started well, but it's they needed bodies in, you know, Celtic, and they needed to change the complex of probably the squad, and they managed to do that with losing a few players and getting new players in. So it's a new way for Celtic. The manager's obviously happy with what he managed to do, and at times in the Old Firm game they played well. I was impressed with the boy Juranovic, who played at left back. Yeah. So if they can get, you know, a style to play, obviously we know the style to play, but if they can get a bit of rhythm and you can get a squad playing together and gelling, then listen, we know the Old Firm are going to be at the top two, the top end of the table. Is to see who can probably come out on top in the Old Firm games.
We want to hear from you, Celtic fans. What do you reckon? Are you stronger or weaker than you were last season? Probably a little bit weaker than you were 24 hours ago, with obviously Odsonne Edouard, Ryan Christie and Lee Griffiths moving. I'll get your thoughts on Griffiths in a second. But Tam, I want to go back to you. We can see the Celtic squad depth now. We've had a little bit looking at this throughout the day. All the options, you know, you've got the 3 keepers there, Juranovic coming in as the right back, 5 centre-halves, including 3 new signings. Still got Bolingoli as the backup left back, but then you've got McCarthy in the middle, the likes of Turnbull and Rogic playing in that 10 role. Forrest, Abada, a new signing with Jota, and then the 2 new strikers, Kyogo Furuhashi. Will he replace Odsonne Edouard's goals? Looks like he will at the moment. Giakoumakis and Ajeti. So, Tam, for me, Celtic are in a better place than I thought they would be when we were looking, you know, the start of June, no manager, plenty of players going to have to leave, and a big turnover coming in. I think they're in a better place than I thought they would be, but are they in a strong enough place to challenge seriously for this league title?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're in a far better position. I think, see, even 4 or 5 weeks ago when we came in here, you know, I was looking at Celtic's squad and I thought Rangers were an absolute certainty to win the league. I think I even said their second team would probably win the league. But now looking at that, you know, Taylor and Bolingoli in the left back position would be the only one that I would think is suspect in that. But I think the rest of the positions for Celtic are pretty strong. If
you look at now, Juranovic, who played really well at left back, can play. Ralston, who's come into the team and has done well. Julien still to come back from injury. I was lucky after the game on Sunday. Took my dog out for a walk, and Ange was getting out his car, and he stood and spoke to me for 10 minutes after the game, and he just said, "Listen, I'll be delighted once the window's closed, and I'll be able to get rid of the players that don't want to be here, and then we can focus on moving forward." And I think he'll be delighted with the business he's done. Celtic moving forward. Well, obviously, listen, the big thing is, can they get a continuity in the team and get players gelled? That's just a wait and see, you know. But listen, they're stronger, I think, than before the window closed.
I think when you look at the Old Firm game, there wasn't much in it. I think
was it a set piece?
The set piece won the game, but there wasn't a lot in the game. Celtic had a couple of big chances. If we take it, it's probably a different game. I felt as if it was always going to be a 1-0 game. It was very tight. You know, from the first 20-30 minutes, both teams were cagey, no one to commit too much forward. But I thought that there was not much in the team between the teams. So I think this season it'll be Rangers won the league by what, 20 odd points last year?
25 points.
It'll be nowhere near that this season. I don't think it'll be double figures. You know, I'm looking at the teams just now, and I think it'll be very competitive because I think the rest of the teams are stronger. I think Hibs are stronger. I think Hearts are stronger. Aberdeen are stronger. I think they'll take more points off of Celtic and Rangers in previous seasons.
Yeah, they certainly will, I think. Well, we're just talking about there. I spoke to Ange plenty of times before the window shut, and he was getting asked, you know, it's like Old Firm manager every single 2-3 days, who's coming in, who's going out, and he just wanted to get to the end of that window. So he'll have 2 weeks to work on it with his players this week before everyone comes back from international duty. But in terms of outgoings, we've spoken about Edouard. Christie a big miss?
Well, he never... Yes, because what he's done for the football club, he's, you know, since he's been there, has been phenomenal. But he had 6 months left in his contract. They've managed to get, you know, a good fee, £1.5 million, £2 million for him. He didn't want to sign a new deal, so you know we speculated to say, will he stay to the end of the season and go on a free? But they got a good offer from Bournemouth, and he wants to move on. And like I say, you move on quickly. You know, the window's closed now, and Celtic will, sad to say, but they'll forget about Ryan Christie. They'll forget about Odsonne Edouard. It's time to move on and deal with the players that we've got in the dressing room, because only them now that can go and win a title.
I think it's important that Postecoglou gets guys in that want to be there, as Charlie just alluded to. Yeah. You need guys that are going to be there. A lot of speculation about Christie, a lot of speculation about Edouard. You know, both of them out the door now. He's got guys in, his signings, and Charlie will tell you, managers want their own signings. Yeah. You know, they don't want to be left with the previous manager's players. So I think he's putting his own stamp on the team now, and I think he'll be judged now, going forward from now, rather than maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago when it wasn't his team. I think you judge Postecoglou now. Yeah, I think it was something that also hampered Neil Lennon. You remember when they got knocked out by Ferencváros at the Champions League in the summer of 2020? He said that there were players that didn't want to be there, you know, alluding to Ayer and Edouard that wanted to. Well, look what happened. Yeah. They end up losing 10 in a row. And I said in this show that it festers in the dressing room, because you know players don't want to. You've seen it at times in Sunday, and Edouard didn't even want to go near a tackle because he knew what was happening. He knew, and Ange has probably he did come out and said, I made the wrong decision, probably not to play, should never played him. And listen, you learn by that, that's what happens. But he's gone now, they move on, and listen, they'll be competitive. And listen, I think both teams will be happy with what they've done. Like Tam said, I think every team in the Premier League strengthened very well this summer. Yeah, hats off to Ryan Christie as well. Moving to Bournemouth, he said he's always had an eye on them, always a bit of a fan, so I rate a bit of that. Nice place to live. Yeah, Bournemouth. It's a long way for Inverness, isn't it? Yeah, good for him, good for him. Coming at Lee Griffiths, the last one to go out the door, joining your club. Yesterday we said we thought that Griffiths could be the difference between Dundee staying up. You know that I tipped you to finish 11th. I think you stay up anyway, but what will he give you? Well, goals. There's no doubt about that, and we know that he can score goals. But then that's up to us now to go and supply him with the goals and get him in the positions to score goals. He's not played for a little bit, and he'll get game time, and that's what he needed. He's 30 years of age, you know, he's still relatively young. We know he'll score goals. His record speaks for itself. He's 230 odd goals. But we just have to get him on the pitch more regular, and if we can do that, then he'll definitely be an asset to us, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play for us. You know, I was chatting to him yesterday at training. He was delighted to come, and you know, I couldn't speak highly enough of the Celtic manager. He was open and honest with him, and it was good to see, and hopefully he can come and enjoy his football. The thing with Griffiths is now he's came at the right time. 2 weeks in international break. I'm sure he'll be doing a lot of running up there with the gaffer and the fitness guys, because there's no doubt in his ability. It's just his fitness. If he can get himself fit and in good shape, then for me he scores 10 or 15 goals. It's the game time. It's not the fitness, like they said about. When I was talking to the Celtic manager after the game Sunday, that's something I mentioned. I said, what about Griffiths? He says, he can train all he wants, it's the game time. He wasn't going to get the game time at Celtic. Yeah, the sharpness. That he wasn't going to get at Celtic. He'll get that with us. So that will make him better. That'll improve him. And listen, he'll score goals, we know that. And I just want to see a happy Lee Griffiths, you know, scoring the goals. And listen, we've got a few big games coming up, and
normally in the big games, he can turn up. You know, you see for Scotland, for Celtic as well. So we're delighted to have him.
All the best, Dundee, for the rest of the season. Hopefully see you back on the park as soon as possible, Charlie. Oh, we talk about Celtic. Let's talk about Rangers. We spoke a bit about them yesterday. Didn't sell any of their big players. You know, we spoke about it all summer. Are they going to have to let one or two go, the likes of Kent or even Morelos, Barisic? None of them left. We know that Nikola Katic did go. He went on loan to a club back in Croatia, Hajduk Split. And it's an interesting one, Cedric Itten to grow to third. You can see Cedric Itten in his new strip now. Quite an interesting one. What do you reckon of that, Tam? Eh? Good strip for him?
That was like that
That's
shirt
blue.
he wore.
That's green and blue.
That was him last
That
week.
was like that
wasn't
shirt he wore last week, was it not?
it? A Gruta Firth fan. But yeah, come on. About Rangers, what do we reckon there? Their squad depth, they're the one team for me that haven't really lost anything at all. They've strengthened. You'll only be able to judge them in next season. You know, if they win the league and they get the Champions League money automatically, it will have paid off, won't it?
The biggest thing for Rangers was, can they keep the best players, and they've managed to do that. Listen, they have a settled team. They've added a little bit to it, but you know that team's now been playing together for a number of years. They've got a way of playing, and yeah, listen, they feel stronger after this window, and you know they'll be looking to try and get a rhythm now from now to the end of the season. First half, I thought they showed a little bit too much respect to Celtic and allowed them to have it. It might have been the game plan. But second half, when they upped the tempo, I didn't think Celtic could live with them at times. And it's, yeah, listen, both teams are in a better position than now the window's closed.
Charlie thinks they're strengthened. Let's have a look at their squad depth, and we've also done that. So 3 goalkeepers, even Robbie McCrory had a great game. He's third choice keeper. You got Patterson, who did stay, along with captain James Tavernier. Just 4 centre-halves, and Borna Barisic, along with Calvin Bassey, as the left-back options. They've really strengthened in the middle of the park. I think that's where Steven Gerrard did want to do some business. You've got John Lundstrom in there, and also Bakuna, who's coming. We haven't seen him play just yet. Up front, Sakala, Defoe, Morelos, no Itten, and you've got Haji Roof, Kent and Wright. Looking at the squads compared, Tam, do you think that Rangers have the stronger squad?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they've got the stronger squad. I think that Celtic still in a couple of areas. Goalkeeping area, I think Rangers are stronger. I think obviously bringing in Joe Hart, but big question marks over Bain and Barkas. I think left back, I think you've got it up there. I think that's the Rangers one. I think they're stronger at left back. I think they're stronger in the middle of the park. And the way Rangers play, they play the 4-3-3, so they're quite happy to get rid of it in, and they've still got Morelos, Sakala and Defoe, because they're only playing one up and 2 wide.
And Roof can play through the
Roof
middle
can play
as well.
through the middle, so they've got plenty of options there, Rangers. I mean, I think Ryan Jack's injured, Kelly, but for me that's a very, very, very strong Rangers squad.
Still favourites for the title then?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they're stronger for the title. And but what I'm happy about is that I think everybody in Scotland's improved, and the squads, and like Tam said, teams will be taking points off each other this year, and let's say hopefully it's not such a big gap by the end of the season.
Let's have a look at all the other business then done on deadline day. Plenty of clubs making moves, players coming in, players going out. 3 for Celtic, Lee Griffiths of course coming in for Dundee. Scott McMahon signed as Jamie Robson's replacement at Dundee United. Hibs bringing in 2, they couldn't do any more business, Tam will get onto that later. Cammy Devlin finally making his move from Australia to Hearts. 2 for Motherwell as well, and 1 for Ross County. Conor Ronan in for St Mirren, and 4 for St Johnstone. That's where we're going to go next. 3 of them on loan, as well as Itu Virtanen in as a striker, but it's their outgoings that are the headline. Jason Kerr, 600 grand to Wigan, a League One side, and then you've got Ali McCann, who we've talked him up so much, and we reckon 1.25, maybe rising to 1.75 million. I thought they were going to get 3 million for him.
Well, the chat all summer has been they're going to break Callum Davidson's transfer fee record, which was 1.75 million. So unless they're getting an 80% sell-on from Preston, I think that deal's crazy. I think that's such a low fee for that player. And I look at Celtic and Rangers. I mean, how have they not signed him for that money? I mean, they would go in and strengthen their squad. Preston, I've want to watch. Obviously, Frankie McAvoy's the manager down there. He knows the Scottish game inside out. Unless St Johnstone have inserted at least a 50% sell-on, I don't understand that fee. I thought St Johnstone would have been looking for at least £2 million for him.
Yeah, unbelievable value that English clubs can just come and find.
I said to you on Twitter this morning, didn't I, about it? People saying the market up here in Scotland, you can get good players for good value. In England, I seen there yesterday, I was hearing clubs wanting to pay £1 million for a League One player that's never played in the national team. He's played 6 games for Northern Ireland. And, you know, been a standout in the 4 or 5 European games he's had this season, and to steal him for 1.2 million, it just shows the value that the players are not at the market. And I think, like you said, Preston, I know there was a Premier League, English Premier League club come in for him yesterday. They wanted the deal but could not get to the figure that Preston wanted. St Johnstone got from Preston, so it's a good move for him. It's a good footballing decision for him, and let's say if he goes and does well there, you could be talking about Ali McCann 5, 6, 7, closer to a lot more money going forward for Preston, because I like him as a player.
Yeah, you think he can go up?
I think he can go up from there. I think it's a good footballing decision to go from Scotland to England, to the Championship in England. Listen, like Tom said, Frankie knows the league, good players, and if he does well there, then the English clubs in the Premier League will pay whatever they have to pay for him. But
something you did yourself a few years ago.
Yeah, no, listen, sometimes you've got to take that risk. I think he's probably, and even Jason Kerr as captain, they've done it as well as they could at St Johnstone. They've obviously won 2 trophies, and getting them into Europe is a phenomenal achievement. But you have to be selfish at times as well, and both of them have made that decision to leave the football club. St Johnstone they've got a few quid in, and they move forward, and I like the signings that they've made. Den Donker is a good player, so it'll be interesting to see what St Johnstone do now. Yeah,
they're going to hope that Itu Virtanen can kind of help their goal problem. They draw so many games, St Johnstone, they're hard to beat, but they quite often can't get it over the line unless Chris Kane, bundles one in so often he does from set pieces. But hopefully for the Saints, because they haven't won a game yet this season, they'll hope he can score.
Yeah, I think the Finnish lad Virtanen coming in is massive for them. I don't think Stevie May and Kane are 15, 20 goals a season men. They're good target men. They're busy. They'll get their goals in small patches, but they're needing a goal scorer, St Johnstone, to go to the next level. But the St Johnstone fans must be sick this morning to lose these 2 boys. I mean, they were the heart and soul of that team, Kerr and McCann last season. They've managed to keep guys like Rooney and McCart and Xander Clark. So, but that's ripped the heart out of them a wee bit.
Yeah. Let's move it on. Hibernian, the club you're always talking about, always playing them up. We were speaking yesterday, we thought they might have got a striker, but it's just the centre-half and the goalkeeper they've brought in. They've also brought in Dylan Tate, the youngster. They've sent him straight back to Wraith. But what do you think of their business?
I think overall, the whole window, I think it's been a really good window for Hibs. They've kept all their best players. There was a lot of transfer rumours about Nisbet and Doig and Boyle. Porteous, they've kept them all. Jake Doyle-Hayes has been a great signing. James Scott, I think, will be a good signing. I think last night a few Hibs supporters were looking at maybe bringing in a striker. Jamie Gullen was supposed to go into Kilmarnock on loan. So I heard, and that fell through. So I think at the last minute Hibs have pulled the plug on that because they couldn't get anyone else in. I was hearing about Connor Wickham. Hibs will try to get Connor Wickham.
Connor Wickham?
We're trying to get Connor Wickham, but I think he's going to Preston. So Hibs were in the market for a striker, but it fell through, and obviously the Jamie McGrath thing at the last minute.
The problem for Hibs, the problem for anybody going to Hibs is they're not going to play. It's I expected, Hibs to have gone in for Griffiths because he was available. But would they have played? Because Nisbet's the main man there. So it's going to be difficult. Whoever you bring in to sit on the bench,
it's got to be a backup.
It's going to be a backup. Yeah. So it's very difficult to then say, do you leave on loan to go to Hibs on loan to be back up to Nisbet? It's hard to do that, and you need a different type of player. So I think in the end, I thought James Scott's a good sign. He played really well against us at times. I thought, holds it up well, strong, can run. So no, I think they'll be all right, Hibs, in that area. Obviously, they throw Martin Boyle through the middle if they need to, but no, I think they've done some good business. Yeah,
for me, they've done the best business. I was looking at all 12 clubs, ins and outs over the summer, and for me, Hibs probably just Pippin Aberdeen is my number one. What do you two reckon? Who's done the best?
No, I think you're right. I think that the main thing for Hibs was keeping all the best players, keeping all the talent that was already there. They've added Jake Doyle-Hayes, James Scott's in. I don't know a lot about the young guy Nathan Wood from Middlesbrough, so supposedly he's a decent pedigree down there. So the main thing for Hibs was keeping those. If Jamie McGrath came in last night at the last minute, that would have been.
But where does he play?
Massive.
Yeah, where do you see McGrath? Because they've been playing.
You've got Joe Newell, you've got.
He would have played.
McGuinness almost plays.
He would have played in the 10 role, but you've got McGuinness who's been brilliant in that role this season. So I don't think it was a necessity to get McGrath, but I think if you could get him,
available,
you would get him. And I think that deal fell through at the last minute. I think Scott Allen and Jay Wright were heading to St Mirren, so Listen, it's a hard one for them to go back into East Road. We were chatting, but it's a tough one for them to go back into East Road when they thought they were out the door. So they've got to pick them up a wee bit, the Hibs staff.
What kind of welcome do you think Jack Ross is going to get at Hibs the next time to St Mirren? He goes there. He keeps just buying their players, doesn't he? They keep bringing.
I think the Hibs scout just goes to all the St Mirren games.
Really?
It doesn't go anywhere else.
Oh, brilliant, isn't it? But yeah, Jamie McGrath does stay at St Mirren. Fantastic news for Buddy's fans because he was outstanding last season. I think he's a top player. He's away with Ireland at the moment and they're facing Portugal later today. We'll get onto that a little bit later. But yeah, just one last one on the transfer business in Scotland. A standout signing for you? Anyone?
Lee Griffiths.
Lee Griffiths.
Kyogo.
Putting it Kyogo.
Kyogo for Celtic. I think he'll get 25, 30 goals.
25. And you going Griffiths? He's going to get the same, is he?
Well, if I can supply him, and we'll try. But no, I think he could be the difference in being from, like you got us in 11th to maybe pushing a little bit further up the league in that. So yeah, I think Griffiths could be a difference for us.
Okay. Jake Doyle-Hayes for me, I think he's a fantastic player. I'm surprised there wasn't more interest surrounding him, even though likes the old.
He's only in the door, settled down. He's only in 2 minutes.
I like him. He's a good player.
You want the Hibs to sell him already?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. He nearly went to Dundee United.
Start the season.
Brilliant player. Brilliant player. Right, let's come on. It was transfer deadline day across the entirety of Europe. Here are some of the big moves that did take place. Arsenal bringing in a right back. Chelsea, Sal Niguez from Atletico Madrid on loan, which allowed the one and only Antoine Griezmann to return to the Wanda Metropolitano. Barcelona bringing in Luke de Jong from Sevilla as a striker. The West Ham and Leeds United also bringing in a few players. Antoine Griezmann, where does he stand, Tam? 2 years ago, moved to Barcelona. If he could have left a few months ago, then maybe Lionel Messi could have stayed, and now he's already back at Atletico.
He's not done it at Barca, has he?
No?
Yeah, I thought he'd have been a great signing. He was fantastic at Atletico, but maybe going home now, back with Simeone, he'll get his mojo back, but I expected more from him at Barcelona.
It's been a bad window for Barca, isn't it?
Oh, you can say that again.
Messi, Griezmann, gone. Braithwaite's still there.
Yeah.
Luke de Jong coming in.
Depay's their best forward now.
Yeah.
Where's Aguero? See?
They've signed him.
Injured.
Yeah, still injured. Interesting, they've given Ansu Fati, the number 10, inherited that. You've seen the players that have had
Should
it.
have retired it.
Lionel Messi, Riquelme, Maradona, Ronaldinho, Ansu Fati.
No pressure.
No pressure. We'll see. He's still injured as well. He's not actually played yet, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. And for me, I just wanted to say as well, Chelsea bringing in Sal Niguez just as third or fourth choice midfielder. I've got them down as title favourites now. I think they are. With Lukaku, Man City not bringing in Kane or another striker, I'm going Chelsea for the Premier League.
I couldn't disagree with you. I thought if Man U signed a real quality midfield player, sitting midfield player, I'd give them the edge, but I'm not having Fred and Matic in the middle of the park. I think Man U will just be short of that.
I think McTominay does a good job for
does,
him. And signing the main man, Ronaldo, I think it'll bring them closer as well. So I think that United could...
United?
I think now I could put United there with Liverpool. I think Liverpool have done, not really obviously signed that centre-back, but they've got all the big players back, Liverpool, and that's the big thing. So it's going to be a hell of a Premier League next year, and everybody thinks stronger than they were, so no, it's good.
Yeah, especially clubs in the UK seem to have strengthened. Clubs abroad maybe not so much, been hit especially hard by the COVID pandemic. Right, we're going to have to leave transfers behind and now focus on the massive game that takes place this evening. I think a few people have almost forgotten because of all of the deadline madness. It's Scotland. They're putting Euro 2020 behind them and focusing on Qatar 2022, the World Cup under 16 months away now. They face Denmark, who of course reached the semi-finals of the European Championship. They've only got 19 players, 16 of them outfielders after being struck down by plenty of injuries and COVID issues. I spoke to manager Steve Clarke yesterday. He promised that his side will play on the front foot and be positive, just like they were at Euro 2020.
If you go and try and win and you come up a little bit short, you'll get the point. So we go there positive. We go there against the top seeds in the group. We're positive mentality. We tried to play on the front foot in all the games in the Euros. It didn't quite work out for us in a couple of them, but we played positively. We created chances, and I think, like I said before, if you can do that, then you always keep the opposition a little bit worried.
Steve Clarke saying that they were positive at Euro 2020. Everyone can make their own mind up about that, but they've got to be positive this evening. What's the aim for them? Are they going over there to not get beat, as some people have suggested? Are they going there for a victory, or are they just going to not lose 4-0?
Going to win.
Going to win?
Going to Scotland, they're going to win. I think they've got to go to win.
You think they've got a good enough team?
Yeah, I do. Listen, I think that people kind of underrate and underestimate the Scotland players, Scotland team. I think we've got good players. I was just talking to Charlie there. Guys playing the Premiership at top level. Lyndon Dykes banging him in the Championship for QPR. I think he's got 10 in his last 12 games for QPR. It's in good form. Billy Gilmour in there. I think we've got a good side. So go and try and win. Denmark are a good side, no doubt about it. They'll probably be big favourites to win the game, but go and be positive and try and get a win. If you go and try and win, don't sit with everybody behind the ball. I don't think Scotland will do that anyway, but go and have a go.
Yeah. We'll talk about Denmark a little bit later, of course, a really, really good side. But I asked Steve Clark yesterday as well, is the England game at Wembley the blueprint for, going away to a top nation? He said, yeah, it kind of is. That the 3-5-2 system, is that how you see it going tonight?
Yeah, I think Scotland will play with 3 at the back, and you've got to take that. Listen, we ain't going to go gung-ho to Denmark. They're 11th in the world rankings. They're a good side, semi-finalists. But we'll get opportunities, and it's like we did in the Euros. Can we take them? We never did, in the Euros. We never took our chances. Can we do tonight? Because if we do that, we go a point behind them. And it gives you a great chance still to play them at Amden. Moldova at the weekend. So you've got a good chance of qualifying. So I think Scotland, let's say, a win would be unbelievable. But if we can get out there without losing, I'd still be happy with that.
Yeah, I think you'd be over the moon with a point. We can have a look at the group table right now. Scotland are in second on 5 points. But it was the draw at home to Austria and a draw away to Israel kind of dampened the moods going into Euro 2020. Obviously, the hype was back then in the summer, but Denmark absolutely waltzing through the group at the moment. Let's have a look, though, at what we think the 11 may be. Now, there may be a few changes. It will certainly be 38-year-old Craig Gordon in goal. We've got Grant Hanley and Kieran Tierney, joined by Jack Hendry in the centre of defence. Billy Gilmour and Kenny McLean in the middle with Callum McGregor just in front of them. Ryan Fraser, the only right wing-back option on the right-hand side. Andy Robertson on the left flank. Dykes and Adams up top. Now, we've spoke a little bit before, Charlie, the points we're contentious about are the right centre-half, Hendry. He's coming straight from Belgium. He's not trained yet, so we could maybe see Cooper or McKenna play in the middle. And you think maybe a change in midfield as well?
Possibly. I think Callum can drop back in where Kenny McLean is and bring Christie in to the 10 position. I think you can bring Cooper in in the middle of that and put Grant Hanley to the right. So, no, listen, we've got options still available. I know we've only got 16 outfield players, but there is options there, and
still a strong team.
Even if Kenny McLean does play, it's strong team, he's a good player. But because Callum's played so much for Celtic in that deeper area, I think he'll play there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, listen, it's good enough to go and get something in Denmark. Yeah,
how big a strength is that? We saw the Gilmour and McGregor axis at Wembley. McGinn just in front of them, but you could easily play the likes of Christie or Turnbull in that 10 role. Do you think that's got to almost be the core of the team, especially Billy Gilmour after that unbelievable performance at Wembley?
Yeah, I think the middle of the park's is a real strong area for us. As you said, you could play Christie in there, but I think that Billy Gilmour... Listen, we went to Wembley and played really, really well. And England are a better side than Denmark. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. So I think that you go there with confidence. You go with the same kind of swagger and the same kind of confidence we've done when we went to Wembley. Most important thing you've got to do, you've got to take your chances. We had chances against England, we had chances against Croatia. We had chances to go and win games, Czech Republic, and we never take them. So Dykes, Adams got to be ruthless tonight. Maybe only get one chance. They've got to put it away.
But I think Dykes is in better form than he was before the Euros or during the Euros. So, like you said, 10 goals in 12 games. You've scored goals. I think he's always done well enough for Scotland. I like him. And so, listen, they're a threat, especially away from home. We've got people that can run in behind, and that's the good thing about Adams when you play him. He can run in behind, and Dykes will run in behind, and they can hold it up for you. So it's not like we're going to be cramped in and we have to sit behind the ball. We can play it up to them and get up the pitch. So, listen, I'm taking the confidence from being at the Euros. Listen, that's gone now, but we got there first time in 20 odd years. We've got to take the positives from it and move on. And let's say, going to a place like Denmark, shouldn't be afraid. You should go and relish that challenge.
Is there any concern about that right wing back? We know that Stephen O'Donnell's out, Patterson's out, Forrest, who can play there and has played there for Neil Lennon's Celtic. It's only going to be Ryan Fraser. Is that a concern against a team that are probably going to be going forward?
Set pieces is probably, maybe at the back post, balls coming in. I assume the Danish are a big side. Balls coming into the back post, I think, could be a problem area. But I think he's a good player. He'll offer you a lot going forward. Maybe not as good defensively as other guys you mentioned there, but I think it's positive eventing. He's going to go forward more. Mm-hmm. You've got Roberts on the other side, so I think that Scotland team's shaped to go and attack.
Yeah, just maybe the bench is a little bit weak. Obviously, he's only got 6 outfielders on the bench. Got likes of Gallagher, Cooper, McKenna, Lewis Ferguson, uncapped, David Turnbull, and either Christie or McLean we think will be on the bench as well. Is that where they might come up short? Because you know that Denmark have got strength and depth.
Well, listen, that's part of being in the COVID situation. You know, clubs are struggling at the moment. You know, Rangers before the Old Firm, and there'll be situations now, you know, during the season that teams are going to have COVID. So listen, we have to deal with it. You know, and Steve, but in his press conference, wasn't making any excuses. It is what it is, and we'll move on. We'll go there with a strong squad, and we'll look to try and get a result. Okay,
let's talk about Denmark then. Of course, everyone's fan favourite for Euro 2020 after the horrific incident with Christian Eriksen in the opening game, which was a loss to Finland. They then came back, beating Russia 4-1, hammering Wales 4-0, beating the Czechs as well, before losing heroically in extra time to England at Wembley. Here's what Andy Robertson had to say about their run at the Euros.
You know, the way they dealt with that alone was worthy of them to, you know, I think everyone was a Denmark fan once their country went out, and I was no different. But then they started showing the quality on the pitch, and that's what we've got to be worried about tomorrow night. You know, they have fantastic players. They have a team that is willing to fight for each other, and you know, when you've got that, it's always a difficult opponent to play against. But you know, we've got that as well. You know, we fight for each other. We go out there and try and, you know, do our all and leave nothing on the pitch. So it's going to be a really tough game.
Yeah, we can have a look at the Denmark fact file we've composed. And as Charlie said, the 11th best team in the world according to the FIFA World Rankings. The Euros, the semi-finals, the World Cup, last 16, just a penalty shootout against Croatia away from a quarter-final. Won 3 of their last 5. Their Scotland record, though, they've lost 10 times to us. No draws in 16 meetings. Plenty of key players we'll talk about in a minute, and Kasper Hjulmand, the manager. Now, they are missing several players through injury and COVID as well. You've got Yannick Vestergaard, the Leicester City centre-half, Kasper Dolberg, former Ajax and Nice striker, and also Braithwaite, your favourite of Barcelona. But, you know, they've still got Højbjerg and Delaney in the middle of the park. I like Mæhle, the left-back at the Euros. Remember, he was flying up and down. Damsgaard scored the free kick against England. They've got dangerous players, haven't they?
They're a good side, yeah, and they're dangerous players, but listen, if Højbjerg's their key player, then we'll be happy with that. But he's a holding midfielder, so listen, he's a good player, he's done well for Tottenham, but like you say, the players that you've mentioned, they caused a lot of problems at the Euros, and you know, you don't get to the semi-final if you're a bad team, so they'll still probably might be playing on the emotions of Christian Eriksen and things like that, so listen, it's a tough place to go, Copenhagen. The atmosphere will be electric, and we've got to use our heads, and hopefully we can get used to that, and we can use it, calmness. And like I say, take our time, you know, get done fouls, throw-ins, take our time, and set plays. Like I say, set plays could be key for us tonight, and say hopefully we can get a result. Yeah,
a set plays the keys for us. You know, you said that the Danish will be a big side, but Scotland have got big boys in there as well, especially at centre half.
Yeah, unfortunately, the new set piece guy, Austin McPhee,
has got COVID.
So.
No.
I texted Nazy earlier today. I just hope that he's got a few set plays up his sleeve. So
a few blocks and a few secret ones up his sleeve. But no, listen, I think set pieces for any kind of smaller nation, they're huge in international games. Could win or lose you the game. So got to be solid at the back end. Got to be ruthless. Got to take your chances. I don't think we're going to get a bundle of chances tonight, but the ones we do get, we've got to take.
Right, prediction time then. Come on, let's hear it from you.
I think Scotland can get a draw. I'm going to go for 1 each.
1-1. Chaz?
I would say the same, yeah, 1-1.
1-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Denmark. I've just got to go with my head here. I do think that Scotland can score, and I think they will score, but I just think that off the bench, we probably don't have enough with COVID. If we had the likes of McGinn, McTominay and Armstrong coming off the bench as well, I think it could be a difference. But we'll all be back in Scotland and hoping that they can go through. Before we leave the Denmark topic, the last 2 times Scotland have played, they've beaten them. And we can have a look at the team that played against them in 2011 at Sodden Hampden Park. Now, who's that number 6 there? You see him?
Yeah, I scored. I set a goal up. Well, it was an own goal, really. It was a free kick, and I whipped it in.
Did you? I was researching it. I was going to see it.
An own goal.
Look at this. We can get a
Paul McGowan.
Closer look at the Paul McGowan here. Here we go.
Looking well.
Look at that beauty.
Christian
Eriksen. I think he was only 19 back then.
But
Did you skill him that day, Charles? Did you?
We did all right. Yeah. Not bad, was it?
Yeah. Was it 2-1 win?
2-1 win. Yeah.
What do you remember from the Danish team?
They were technically very good. Eriksen. Who else did they have that night? Paulson maybe played, Christian
Yeah.
Paulson. They had big units at the back.
Kier was still playing, the captain, Simon Kier.
So listen, they were a good side back then, but we managed to do a job on them, and it was a good atmosphere. But it was soaking wet. I remember that.
How was it?
Yeah.
Can you remember who you got subbed off for? No, nothing.
Who was it?
Graham Dorrans.
Graham Dorrans, yeah.
59th minute, there you go, that was me doing my research today.
60-minute man.
Yeah, straight off.
Start to it. Angus Loughlin loves it.
I know. Right, so we want to hear
What's the
from
rating
you.
in the paper?
7.
That's all right, we'll take that.
Take it.
Yeah.
Just a friendly anyway. We want to hear from you at home, though, on YouTube and also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything. Send us your predictions, your team lineups. Would you stick with the 3-5-2 formation that was successful at Wembley but came unstuck against Croatia and the Czech Republic at Hampden? What do you think the score will be? Can Scotland win? Will it be a draw, as these two have suggested, or unfortunately, will it be a loss for Steve Clarke's men? Just before we leave the Scotland stuff there, I want to talk about the games in general. You know, this is the crucial kind of fixture period for them. You've got Denmark away, the number 1 ranked team, and Moldova at home. You want to rack up a few goals there. We'll have boys back for that. O'Donnell, Patson and McGinn will all be COVID clear. And then it's Austria away. Now for me, that's the big one. Vienna on Tuesday night. How many points do you think you need from the 3 games to still be in control of your destiny? 5 points.
5 points. I think if we can get a draw away at Denmark and a draw away in Austria, you know, Austria are a decent side. Some good players, Alaba, Arnautovic. So if we can go there and get a draw, if we can take 5 points out of these 3 games, I'd be delighted.
What are you going for? 5 points?
I think 5 minimum. You need to have a chance, but go for 6.
So if they lost tonight, a good performance, and then a big win on Saturday and a win away in Vienna, would you take that?
Oh, what?
Yes.
Say that?
Yeah.
You're jumping over the sofa.
Yeah, because I think Denmark could possibly run the table here and win every game.
Yeah.
So I think you're looking at that second place in the head-to-head with Austria. We've still to play Israel, who we are struggling against, and they are murder. So I think that if you can take 4 points out of 6 from Austria, gives you a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well. Steve Clarke will certainly be hoping for that, and we're looking forward to the game. 7:45 in Copenhagen. There's plenty of other games, though, international-wise. Portugal against Ireland, interesting one. Cristiano Ronaldo could become the all-time leading goal scorer international. If he scores 1, I think it's 109. He's tied with Ali Day. You think he'll do it tonight?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think he could possibly get a hat-trick. Depends on how long he plays. I still think he's still one of the best players in the world.
He's playing against Shane Duffy, so
Hey, he's reformed.
that's what I'm saying.
That's
That's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying.
Big
Big
man's-
Duff could snuff him,
He's-
but I think he could score a hat-trick or not, to be honest.
I just think, let's say, these games for him are, 60 minutes, get him off, protect him for other games and that. But 36 years of age, the competitiveness. Let's say, we talked to somebody the other day, like already the Man United lads are talking about him coming into the training ground, setting a standard for everybody else, and it's great to see, and looking forward to seeing him back in the Premier League.
What's interesting about him is that he's got the desire to play every single game. I know sometimes he gets rested for the Champions League, but he never wants to come off. He never wants to be on the bench. He's just desperate. He'll have Bruno Fernandes off the penalties and free kicks, no bother. He'll be taking them off.
Oh, he'll bully him off the penalties, and Fernandes loves him one and all. So
Oh,
I
I
don't know
know.
how that dynamic's going to go. But Ronaldo being on Everton, corner kicks, throw-ins,
Yeah.
high kicks.
Top scorer for you in the Premier League?
Oh, top, maybe not. I still think it could be Harry Kane.
Kane.
Yeah, I still think Harry Kane will score a bundle of goals. Maybe Lukaku. It's going to be an interesting fight. Obviously, Man City never managed to get that proper number 9 that they needed. But, Lukaku, and he'll definitely be up in the top 3 or 4 goal scorers.
Mm-hmm. The other 2 games we've got to keep an eye on tonight. Austria away to Moldova. Could we get something there, a little Moldova result?
Austria will absolutely hammer them.
You think?
Yes, 4-0.
4-0.
Yeah.
No, that could be 4 or 5.
Austria, actually, I didn't think they were great when we played them. You remember back in March, 2-2 McGinn overhead kick. But against Italy at the Euros, they nearly beat Italy.
Yeah, but it's a different game, different type of game. We were at home and we played well, but listen, Moldova, the bottom team in the group, they lost 8 to Denmark. And if we look like we want to try and win 4 or 5 at the weekend against them, you'd expect Austria to win 4 or 5 as well. So it's I don't see anything apart from an Austrian win.
We've got the Pharaohs at home to Israel as well. Any chance of the Pharaohs? Israel, I can't watch another Scotland-Israel game. Honestly,
We've played them 25 times in the 2 years.
I've got a hand in every time for it, and it ends 1-1 every single time. Can't even beat them. I'll be playing.
The Faroe Islands v Israel. Oh.
That'll be a classic. You're going to watch it.
But
Take some notes.
even on my big satellite dish, I'll never be watching that one.
No chance, right?
Horrible. Under 2.5 goals.
Oh, God, yeah. That won't be a sight for sore eyes. But we've got France against Bosnia, the world champions. You've also got Norway. They're taking on the Netherlands. It'll be an interesting battle between Erling Haaland and Virgil van Dijk. And Russia against Croatia, a replay of the 2018 World Cup quarter-final. And just a few more things to go for before we do leave. Kim Little, one of Scotland women's greatest ever international players, has announced her retirement just at the age of 31. She had over 150 caps though, and over 50 goals as well, playing at both Euro 2017 and World Cup 2019. Will go down as one of Scotland's all-time greats. So all the best, Kim, in your retirement. Still playing for Arsenal, right enough, and they won 3-0 yesterday in the Women's Champions League first round playoff as well. We've also got to talk a little bit about the government. Nicola Sturgeon was on today. I don't know if you two have seen this yet. Now, the Joint Response Group are meeting at the moment, we believe, because they'll be debating in Parliament next week, the Scottish Parliament, that vaccine passports will be needed for any event that has more than 10,000 people at it. So you're looking at Old Firm games, Scotland games, Aberdeen, Hearts and Hibs, if they do have full houses.
Dundee Derby.
Dundee Derby, there you go.
There you go.
What do you reckon?
Need it.
Need it?
I think so. I think it's important that we get it pushed through and we can try and get back to some normal life. And if that is a way of helping it, then absolutely, I'm all for it. I expect the players to be double jabbed as quick as they can, and we can go and try and move on, because let's say you've seen the Old Firm. I know there was no Celtic fans there, but the atmosphere was electric. I was in the stands and it was brilliant, and hopefully the other games as well. Edinburgh Derby at the weekend next weekend will be amazing as well. So yeah, I'm all for it.
I think that the Joint Response Group are meeting just to work out how exactly it could happen. I think they're suggesting that it would be tough logistically for them. What do you think? Do you think that they're just going to have to overcome it, part of society overcoming the virus?
Yeah, I think it's Charlie. You've got to get on with your life. Start to get full capacity. Start to get concerts and everything opened up again, and big crowds back in. And if it's even just a bit of paper or something you scan or something at a game that tells you you're double vaccinated and you can get in, then I don't see any problem with that. I think the more people that's vaccinated, the better. We don't want it to spread. And if you do get it, obviously if you're double vaccinated, you're not going to feel the full effects of COVID. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that one. I think they'll be debating it in Parliament next week. Just a few more predictions to read out before I do go. You've got Daniel Mook saying 1-1, going with you, Tam. John Curry, 1-0 to Denmark, but that's hardly getting pumped. I would take that as well. I'm going for 2-1 Denmark. Just before we go, standout player for you to keep an eye on for Scotland?
I think that midfield, Billy Gilmore's the one. I think he's the one that can control it, especially away from home. You need to keep the ball, and he's one that can keep the ball for us.
Even with it, he's had quite a tough start to life down at Norwich.
That was always going to be. Norwich were a team that were always going to struggle.
A very tough start.
Very tough
games
start.
I've played.
And that was always going to happen. But let's say, he won't hide, he won't, he'll still want to go and get on the ball, and he'll still express himself. So I think when you're away from home in games like that, you need these players to, they two, him and Callum McGregor, very good on the ball, and if they two can keep it well for us tonight, then we'll have a chance.
Who can score the goals for Scotland?
I think Dykes and Adams. I think Adams has started well at Southampton. I don't know if he got that goal. It was an own goal at the weekend against Man United.
Take it.
Aye,
Did he get it?
I think he got it. So I think he'll get it with confidence. He played well against, the week before against Man United. So I'm hoping that Dykes or Adams, one of them, can pop up with a goal and get us at least a point. Okay, we'll have to wait and see. That one, as I said, is 7:45 this evening. That's all we've had time for today. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Tam and Charlie, as ever, for your views on all of the Scotland game and also all the transfers across Scotland. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe to our PLZ Soccer YouTube channel. Hit the bell as well. That means you will be notified whenever we are going live, so you never miss any of our chats, which is important. Also, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and Twitter. Keep up to date with all of the latest. When the team comes out at around 6:30, we'll be bringing you it as well. We'll be analysing it and we'll be bringing you all of the reaction at the full time whistle from the Scotland camp. And don't forget to join us tomorrow again. Hugh McDonald and Tam will be here to reanalyse the result for Scotland. But from all of us here, from everyone across the country, come on Scotland.